What's up? Good evening, spooky spooks. Welcome to my TBR game for April. I can't keep starting these videos by saying, can you believe we are a month further down the line? Because number one, it shouldn't be blowing my mind as much as it is, and number two, that's boring. But anyway, welcome to the video. We will be going through my TBR for April. I have recorded the gameplay, so you'll see that coming up soon. You will see how interesting it was using my new TBR game 2.0. It was really fun. I landed on some really good tiles, but we'll get there. First up, let me recap what I was supposed to read for my March TBR game and whether or not I was successful. So for my March TBR game, I had to read 4 novels, and then I had to pick a TBR jar book, and I had to pick a poetry jar book. So my new introduction for TBR game 2.0 is that every month I will pick a poetry book from the poetry jar. The TBR jar will remain as a tile on the board, and if I land on it, so be it. I really try to avoid it, even though I can't avoid it because it is a dice. I really hope that I don't land it, because I'm not interested in reading these books. But poetry, I love poetry, I just never get around to reading it, so it's really helped me this month to read some more poetry. So I'll be doing that every month, and I'll pick that out in a minute. I didn't involve that in the gameplay, I will do it in a second. So the 4 novels that I had to read in March were And Then She Fell by Alicia Elliott. Why have I not got props? Let me get props. I have props now, I know what I'm doing. And Then She Fell by Alicia Elliott. I am not going to be going through any ratings or any thoughts in these videos. I will be saving them for my monthly wrap-up videos, because otherwise I end up repeating myself and nobody wants to hear me twice. Maybe even once. Next up, I read Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver, and I have just finished this. As of last night, I have finished this. We are recording this on the 28th. I've been on annual leave all this week, so I do not know what date it is or what day it is. But I finished this last night, so we're cutting it kind of close of March actually. But I recorded my TBR game for April as though I will complete March, but I haven't yet. We'll get there, it's fine. It's now a 4-day weekend as well. It'll be fine, right? Monday is the 31st, I'll be fine. So I finished this last night, and I'll give my thoughts in my wrap-up video. But she's chonky. I feel like I read this a lifetime ago. How was this in March? Anyway, I read Exit West by Mohsin Hamid, and I finished this very early on in the month. As you can tell, it feels like this was months ago. Again, I'm getting existential about time. I'm gonna have to move on. Thoughts to come. My last novel that I had to read was What Feasts at Night by T. Kingfisher, and I will admit to you, because we're all friends here, I haven't finished this yet, but it's so small and I'm already, 30% of the way through? You can see my bookmark. So I'm not concerned. Should I be concerned? I'm not concerned. It's, as I said, it's the 28th, so tomorrow is Good Friday, that's the 29th. If you know how maths works, that's 28 plus 1. And then I've got a weekend, and then a Monday. I don't go back to work till Tuesday, so I've got 4.5 days to finish this, and maybe something else. It's T. Kingfisher, and it's really short, so I'm loving it. No opinions till the wrap-up video. From my TBR jar, I had to read... Well, that's gonna make it difficult. Oh no, how many bookmarks did I have in there? What is happening? From my TBR jar, I picked The Sea by John Banville. I am not very far through. But again, this is a small book, and I've got 4.5 days. I'm not worried. Are you worried? I'm not worried. Should I be worried? I'm not worried. It doesn't help that I just lost my bookmark, but I think I've got another in there. We'll be fine. It's pretty short. It's really hard to do this without giving opinions. I believe I will finish this by the end of March, hence why I am moving forth with my TBR for April, and I rolled the gold dice. From my poetry jar, I picked Deep in Time. Who's the author? Cora Greenhill, and I am about halfway through this, so obviously I will finish that by the end of the month, that's fine. I wanted to kind of focus on a poem a day, but then I forgot all about it. So I will continue to read a poem a day, and then I should be done by the end of the month. So, loving it. I'm loving that I have introduced poetry back into my monthly reading goals. Aside from my TBR game books, I also had 2 other books that I wanted to read this month. I have already read both of those, so you will see those mentioned in my wrap-up video. But it's been a successful month for reading. We're not quite there yet, but I'm confident we will be. I hope I haven't jinxed it for myself. So for the month of March, I had £21 that I could spend on books. Look, not only did I have a Waterstones voucher to spend, I had £20 of loyalty points built up. I also got a notification saying that Godkiller was available to buy. So I may have spent a little more than £21 in the month. However, I have a video coming quite soon on a book haul that I did, so you'll see what I bought. I did buy Godkiller. We're going to claim that I bought Godkiller with my £21. Okay? I make up the rules. It's okay or not. I'm saying it's okay. That aspect of the TBR game does not work. I think I mentioned when I introduced my TBR game 2.0, I do not stick to those rules, and I really should. I'm going to try this month. Watch this space. So, before we get to the gameplay video, this is a very interesting month. Let me tell you for why. Not only have I played my TBR game, I also take part in G's Magical Readathon. I will link her YouTube below. Please go and have a look at her videos for her Magical Readathon, because it blows my mind. The creativity, the hard work, the research that goes into creating this entire world just so we as a community can read more books. She deserves all of our love and appreciation. She's fantastic, and it is so exciting to create a character, to build a kind of a career or a university experience around them, and then just to read books every April and August when we have our semesters, and I love it so much. So I also need to make sure I'm picking books for those prompts too. But to add a little extra challenge to my challenge, I'm going to see if I can link my prompts. So I'm going to see if any prompts that I pull from my TBR game also match up with the prompt from my Magical Readathon. I will say my Magical Readathon prompts were not too difficult this time around. I think in August they were really hard and I had to knuckle down, but this time I think I only have 3 prompts to really pick from, but they're quite interesting ones. So they're not very specific in that, like they say, read a book with an orange cover. They're a bit more vague. So I will tell you about those first. Okay, first up, for my Inscription class, I'm taking a practical typography course. And what that means is I need to pick 3 titles, jumble them up in a hat or receptacle of some type, pick out a title, and that's what I'm going to read. So that's quite easy to link in with another prompt. So say I pick up read a horror book or read a spooky book. I can just pick 3 titles I like, put them in, and pick them out, and that will achieve both my Magical Readathon prompt and also my TBR game prompt. So that one I think will be quite easy. The next class I'm taking is Art of Illusion, and we are taking a shadow play course, and all I need to do is read a book with game or play in the title. Now I scoured my shelves, and that is quite difficult for me. I don't think I have any book with game or play in the title, and if I do, it didn't come easily to me because I didn't want to read it, obviously. However, I've been wanting to read A Middle Game by Shauna Maguire, and I found it on Libby as an ebook, so this works perfectly for that prompt, and we will see at the end whether it ties in with a TBR game prompt too. For my next class, I study psionics and divination, and we're playing a prediction game. So all I had to do was to make a bingo card of predictions, and then pick a book and see how right I was, and try and work your way across, like bingo. You know how to play bingo, right? I'm teaching you stuff eggs. Again, so I feel like that's not too specific, and I can do that for any book that I want to pick, so easily able to tie it in with my TBR game. The last lesson I study is law, but as in L-O-R-E, not L-A-W. And that was to read a piece of fiction that G has put together herself, so again, that's separate. I can keep that separate from my TBR game and crack on with that. I think this is doable. Anyway, let's move on and look at the gameplay, and then I will come back to you and discuss which books I'm going to read. Let's go! Whew. I almost forgot to pick my poetry jar. Shake. Okay, here we go. What poetry book are we reading in the month of April? Get off. Get off at once. How much I grab? Gosh. In April, we are reading The Bees. Oh, is that Caroline Duffy? Let me get it. By the looks of it, I have already read it, but we love a poetry reread. Okay, bye. Woo, welcome back. So, you will now have watched the gameplay, and I can now summarise the books I'm going to pick. Might need some assistance, but we'll get there. So first of all, I had 14 coins to spend in the month of April. However, the double up bonus card I'm not actually going to use because I think I can pick prompts that match my Magical Readathon and my TBR game with no stress. Famous last words. And so I'm going to ditch that card and take the extra £1, so I'll have £15 to spend in the month. And that is a really decent amount of money because I think that pretty much covers a standard hardback, so I can get myself a nice hardback. And yeah, I'll do some thinking about what book I want to purchase, and then in my next TBR game video, I'll then tell you what I bought. But we'll have a think. So first up, I have my wildcard prompt, and I'm going to use this in tandem with my game prompt from the Magical Readathon. So when I read Middle Game by Shauna Maguire, that will tick off my wildcard as well. Next up, I picked less than 3-star rating on Goodreads. This is so difficult to find because I don't want to read a terrible book or a book that I think I'm going to hate, but equally it's very hard to find a book that you think you're going to enjoy that is rated under 3 stars. It was difficult, but I found the perfect one. So this little book that I hold in my hand here, I actually saw Jordaline mention in her latest video where she talks about extreme horror, and I was intrigued because I've dabbled a little bit in extreme horror and I enjoy it. Feels like the wrong word. I appreciate the genre. Okay, that works. And so I ordered this, and then when I played my game, I realised this is rated really low on Goodreads. It has, one sec, as of today, the 28th of March, it has a 2.84 star rating on Goodreads. That is low. The book is No One Rides for Free by Judith Sonnet. The cover is so bad. So, Jodie was driving her children to college when the man got in their car. Uninvited, unwanted, and unhinged. The man has no name, but he does have a gun, a knife, and a bag of toys. What starts as a forced ride into the desert escalates into a disturbing series of crimes and assaults. Jodie and her children will soon pray for death. To avoid dying of shock, keep repeating, "It's only a book, it's only a book, it's only a book." I hope I'm horrified for the right reasons, and not because it's 2.84 star worthy. But anyway, that will fill the prompt at least, and it's not very long, so if it is awful, it'll be over quickly, hopefully. My next prompt was animal or creature on the cover, and this ties in so perfectly with what I want to read this month because I would like to read Ruin and Rising by Leigh Bardugo. I am so excited to move on to Six of Crows, I just need to get through this. So that works out perfectly because the Firebird, is the Firebird? Hang on, there we go. Yeah, the Firebird's on the cover, so animal or creature on the cover, tick, and it will move me one step closer to reading Six of Crows. So I'm happy. They're like average sized books, but they're quite easy to read because I think they are classed as YA, so it shouldn't be too much of a challenge, but I'm actually looking forward to reading it. I've seen the Netflix series, so I know roughly what happens and how it ends, but still intrigued to see how it's written, so looking forward to reading that one. Next up, my prompt was a book that was less than 250 pages. This one I'm going to tie in with my Inscription class for Magical Readathon, and I'm going to put 3 random titles in a hat/type object and pick out one at random. I have, I think, 3 in mind that I know are under 250 pages, so I'm just going to grab those now. Definitely that one. That one's tiny. That one's definitely under 250. This one might be. I'm going to have to check. Yeah, under 200 even. So I've picked Bloom by Delilah S. Dawson, Crossroads by Laurel Hightower, and This Is Where We Talk Things Out by Caitlin Marceau. So to save myself messing around with pieces of paper right now, I'm just going to say in this order, this is 1, 2, and 3, and then I'm going to random number generator it and we'll see what number I get. I know we're cutting corners, but don't make me get a paper and pencil out. I don't want to do that. So top to bottom, 1, 2, and 3. Let's see. Let me do a random number generator down here. You're going to have to just trust me because I'm on my laptop and yeah. Right, between 1 and 3. 1. What was that? So for my Inscription class for Magical Readathon and for my less than 250 pages prompt, that's a mouthful, I'll be reading This Is Where We Talk Things Out by Caitlin Marceau. Really excited to read that one. Okay, I think the last prompt I had to do was for Magical Readathon, and it was the prediction where I do the bingo. So, because my loan on Libby for a certain audiobook is arriving very, very soon, I'll be reading Starling House by Alex E. Harrow, and I'm really excited to read this one. I got it from my subscription box a few months ago, I think, maybe end of last year. If you notice a sudden change in microphone quality, it's because my mic just died. And I went to get my backup mic, and that is also dead. So I put my AirPods in, and I'm hoping that the sound is as good as a mic. If it turns out to be better, then what waste of money that was. But anyway, I can't even remember what I was saying, because I raved about the cover because the cover is beautiful. I don't blame you if I was. But it just so happens that the audiobook is ready on Libby soon, and I have the hardback copy, so why not combo read them together? I love doing that, it's my favourite. And I'll be using it for my prediction bingo. I've already scrawled out a really rough copy of what my bingo card will be, so I'll read you those prompts in a second. But I focused a little bit more on the horror tropes side of it than the fantasy side of it, because I'm a horror girly. I know what to expect from a horror. I don't know what to expect from fantasy. So I wanted to be a little bit easier on myself, but also make it quite fun. So I've gone for what you'd probably call stereotypical horror tropes, and I'm really excited. I listened back to the sound quality, shocking with the AirPods. I am so sorry. We're almost done here, and then I will go charge my microphone so this never happens again, ever. But before we go, before you leave me, bear with me please. Let me just read you my bingo card, and then I will release you into the wild and you can leave. But come back, thank you. I'll charge my microphone. Please come back. My bingo cards say, first of all, house breathes. Any kind of the house breathes or seem to breathe, that kind of thing. Somebody hidden in the house. As in, I've got a suspicion that someone's hidden like in the walls or the basement or something really spooky. A dark romance. I believe there might be romance in this. Lights flickering. Ominous birds. Stormy weather is a given. A tragic past. Nightmares. Creaky floorboards. Dodgy locals. Long winding roads, woodland, mentionings of the moon, crickets, it's a risky one, shadows, or deep breaths. I don't know what yet my reward will be for getting bingo. I think G mentioned maybe buy yourself a little book, but I'm trying to limit myself from doing that, so I'll decide if I ever get there, if I get a bingo, I'll decide what my reward will be. But otherwise, I'm very excited about this. This is a really cool prompt. Okay, I will leave with my bad headphones and charge my mics. I'm so sorry. Apologies for the sound quality. It's terrible. But thank you so much for bearing with me. Thank you so much for sharing this space of the internet with me, for building this community with me. I'm so happy to be here on the booktubes. I'm so happy to have somebody listen to me ramble about books. And I hope to see you in a video very, very soon. Thank you. Bye.